Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the do's and don'ts of water marbling. I've been posting a lot of water marbles on Instagram lately, and a lot of people have been commenting saying they have given up on water marbling, which is really sad to me because I love water marbling. So if you do not know how to water marble, this video is for you. I'm going to be giving you some tips and tricks to help you become a pro at water marbling. So let's get started. So my first tip is to use a small cup. So I picked up this pack of cups at Publix. This is a 9-ounce cup, and honestly, I wouldn't use a cup that's any bigger than this. You also want to use room temperature water. I like to use tap water, so I'll just fill up my cup with water from the sink and then let it sit on the table for at least 1 hour, maybe even 2 to 3 hours, to make sure it is at room temperature. And that's really important. I know some people like to use filtered water, and that's fine as long as the water is room temperature. So the reason I like to use a small cup is because it uses less polish, because the polish does not have to spread as far. And you can see that in this video here. The polish is spreading all the way to the side of the cup, so it's going to be easy to anchor to the side of the cup. And I'm not using as much polish as I would be using if I was using this 16-ounce solo cup. And you can see the difference between the small cup and the big cup. This large cup has more circumference, so you have to use a lot more polish, and it takes longer for the polish to spread out throughout the entire cup because it's so wide. And honestly, by the time you finish your bullseye in this large cup, a lot of your outer layers would have dried because it's been in the water and exposed to air for a longer amount of time. So to avoid this, I would suggest not using a cup larger than 9 ounces for the best results water marbling. You do want to test your polishes before you start water marbling. These are just some examples of brands that I know water marble really well. Some mainstream brands include OPI, China Glaze, Color Club. I know Orly works really well. And for indie polishes, Parrot Polish, KB Shimmer, Arosa, Night Owl Lacquer are all really good examples of brands that water marble pretty well. You don't want to use quick drying polishes, and you don't want to use different brands of polishes if you're just starting out. You want slower drying polishes so you'll have time to create your bullseye as well as have time to draw a design in the water. If you're using a fast drying polish, the polish is going to dry too fast for you to create your design. Using different brands to water marble with is tricky. It's harder to find 2 different formulas that will spread well in the water together. So if you're just starting water marbling, I would suggest using the same brand because they have similar formulas and they work better in the water than different brands. I hope that makes sense. You do want to invest in a water marble tool. So this is my water marble tool. I bought it from What's Up Nails about 5 or 6 years ago, and I love this thing. It only costs $8 on the website, and I'll be sure to link the website where I got it below. But it's like the length of a pen or a pencil, and it's very easy to hold, very easy to clean off. Another tool people use is an orange wood stick or a toothpick. I don't like using a toothpick because it's just too small. It's not easy to hold. It's kind of awkward and very thin. So I would suggest just buying a water marbling tool if you plan on water marbling a lot. So the next do is to use a white or light colored base. And I like to use Zoya's Purity because I only apply one coat and it's pretty opaque. And your base doesn't have to be completely opaque because the water marbling design is going to cover the base. The purpose of a white base is just to really make the colors pop, especially neon colors and pastel colors. It's really going to show their true color over white. If you don't use a white base, I would suggest using the lightest color in the group of colors that you're using as your base color. You want to protect your fingers. So I have Scotch tape here. Water marbling can be very messy, so you want to make sure you're covering your fingers with either tape, or a lot of people like to use liquid latex. I prefer tape because it's faster to put on. I don't have to wait for it to dry, and I can remove it very easily. So I've always used tape. I've tried liquid latex before and my fingers were sticking together. It was a mess. So I'm showing you here how I apply the tape. You just take one long strip and fold it around your nail, and then you take a smaller strip of tape and fold it on top of your nail. Just make sure the tape is not covering any part of your nail because you don't want it to mess up the design. As I dip my finger into the polish, I just take a Q-tip and clean the excess polish. And when I pull my finger out of the water, I don't have as much cleanup to do because I have protected my nails with the tape. And I actually don't recommend doing what I'm doing here. You should probably take like those little small beauty scissors to cut the tape, or you can just peel it off the same way that you put it on. But I typically use this method because it's faster to me. I just use my water marbling tool and break the tape. I wouldn't recommend this because it could be dangerous. But you can see the tape comes off very easily and there's not a lot of cleanup left to do. I'll just take a Q-tip and clean up any bigger spots left on my finger, and then I'll just take my cleanup brush and some acetone and clean around my cuticles. You do want to open all of your polishes before you start. Once you start water marbling, it's a quick process and you need to have everything ready. So I'll open my polishes and I'll line them all up together so I can just quickly go from one polish to the next. You don't want to wipe off your nail polish brush because the polish needs to drip off the brush. So you want to have a bead of polish on the brush so you can drop it into the water. You also don't want to hold the polish too far away from the cup. This actually turned out a little bit better than I expected it to. The polish actually floated up and it still created the bullseye. However, you want to hold the polish really close to the water, almost touching the water. You do want to clean your water marble tool often. So as you're drawing your design in the water marbling tool will be picking up all that polish, so you have to wipe it off or you'll mess up your design. So I typically have a paper towel right next to my cup, and every 2 or 3 or 4 swipes of the design, I will wipe the tip of my water marbling tool off on the paper towel so I'm not contaminating my design. So you can see it here. My last don't is don't give up. Water marbling is challenging and very hard to do, but I hope these tips and tricks helped you and encourage you to not give up on water marbling. It's really easy once you get the hang of it, but I have been doing this for, like I said, maybe 5 or 6 years. So I've learned a lot over the years and I've practiced a lot and failed a lot. So the key is to not give up. I think that once you find polishes that work really well and spread in the water, that's the biggest challenge with water marbling. So if you stayed to the end, I'm going to show you how I do my lazy water marble. I've seen comments saying that water marbling takes a lot of time. It does take a little bit of time, but I don't think it takes any longer than doing any other form of nail art. So I'm going to show you my lazy water marble. This is a super fast way to water marble. And I'm going to show this in real time so you can see just how long it takes me to do this water marble. So you can see that I have my small cup with my room temperature water, and I'm creating my bullseye. I have opened all of my polishes next to my cup, and I'm just going down the row, alternating between the colors. And I'm using OPI for this water marble. I wanted to use a brand that I feel like most people would have. So you can see they spread really well in the water. So I'm taking my water marbling tool, and I like to be symmetrical when I'm drawing my design. So I'll start at the top, and then I'll do the bottom. I'll go to the left, and I'll go to the right. And I'll just keep alternating like that so I can make sure my design stays in the middle of the cup. If you don't do it this way, the design will kind of move all over the cup, which we don't want that. Also notice that I'm not starting at the outer ring of the polishes. You want to start a couple rings in because those outer rings of polishes would have probably started to dry by the time you start to do your design. And they'll completely mess up your design if you start trying to pull those dry polishes. So I decided I wanted to make my flower petals a little bit smaller, so I'm going in again doing one side and then the other side. I'm dipping my water marble tool in the center of the design, and this just takes away any excess globs of polish that tend to accumulate in the cup. So if there's any part of the design that you don't like, you can just dip your water marbling tool into that point and it will just attach to the water marble tool. I'm centering all 4 of my fingers and dipping them in at the same time. So this is my lazy way to do it, and I'm taking a Q-tip to just clean the excess water, and you want to make sure the water is completely clean of any excess polish or it will contaminate your design when you pull out of the water. And you also want to pull your nails out of the water pretty slowly. So you can see that turned out really well, and I have a whole design on my nails, and it didn't take me long at all. I'm going to remove the tape. I don't have a lot of cleanup. The tape protected my fingers for the most part. I'm just going to take my Q-tip and get any large globs of polish. And I'm just taking the back of my fingers to see if there's anything on there. And I have a little piece of tape left on me. Now I'm just taking my KB Shimmer cleanup brush. I also bought this at whatsupnails.com, the same place I got my water marbling tool. And I'm taking this brush and some acetone and just cleaning around my nails. And there's not a ton of cleanup left to do because the tape protected my fingers for the most part. So I think this design came out really good. I haven't used OPI to water marble in a really long time. I mostly use my indie nail polishes, but I actually forgot how well OPI spreads in the water. And that red and black water marble that I showed you earlier in the video was also OPI, and yeah, they spread very well together. So I'm just showing you here that I have a couple of bubbles on my index finger and then one on my middle finger, and I'm just taking an orange wood stick, or you can take really anything flat, and just press the bubbles down. And when you apply top coat over it, you really won't be able to see those bubbles unless you're really up close to your nail. You just want to be careful with the bubbles. You don't want them to pop, because if they pop, they're going to show the white base that you placed underneath your nail. So I just make sure I float the top coat over those bubbles, and I don't, you know, keep going over them with top coat, or it will burst the bubbles. So yeah, that is the completed look. That is my lazy water marble nail design. I also did my thumb, but if you want to be really lazy, you can just paint your thumb one of the colors in the water marble and then just do your other hand, and yeah, super quick. So I hope you learned something from this video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe to see more videos from me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.